How's my life in Japan? Hello and welcome to another Anem's Life in Japan vlog. My name is Anem and I'm an American living in Japan for over 8 years now. Today, Johnny and I spent 3 hours walking around Tokyo's secondhand shop area, Shimo-Kitazawa. So what are you most afraid of when coming to Japan? I conducted a poll and 232 of you responded. 63% of you said you were afraid of not being able to speak Japanese, 19% of you said you were afraid of the racism, 11% of you said you were afraid of not knowing where to go, and very few of you said you were afraid of people staring at you or getting scammed. Today I will address all of these fears by walking around Tokyo's hipster town Shimo-Kitazawa, or Shimo-Kita for short. Shimo-Kita is just one stop away from Shibuya and is known for its secondhand clothes stores and having an old Tokyo feel. If you want to shop and get cool social media photos and videos, this is the place to go. Anyway, let's start with one of your biggest concerns, learning Japanese. How to learn Japanese.
Damn, my guy. Staring at it for long periods of time is not going to make it grow.
How to learn Japanese. When people think of language learning, the main word that comes to mind is fluency. But anyone that has lived abroad for extended periods of time knows that fluency is not the goal. To be conversational is. Aiming for perfection will get you nowhere. However, aiming for the confidence to simply speak, be understood, and understand what is being said should be one's goal when studying a foreign language. I am nowhere near fluent in Japanese, but even still, I go to non-English speaking events by myself, have Japanese friends that can't speak English, and conduct street interviews in Japanese.
すいません。日本語勉強のためにYouTube インタビューしています。ちょっと質問させていただいていいですか？
どうぞ。
はい。
Nice smile.
私はどうですか？
Nice smiles.
あり
Yeah,
がとう
very
ございま
cute.
す。
Yes.
外国人はどうですか？
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Wait, channel, YouTube channel.
名刺あります。
Yes, please.
いや。もう YouTube です。
YouTube?
YouTube していますか？
です。
How do I do this? Because although what I'm saying may not be grammatically correct, I have focused on simply learning how to communicate effectively and learn in the moment of speaking. This was also how I learned Spanish, although Spanish was much easier. If I was to rank Japan in relation to how easy travel is in this country, based on being able to get around or understanding its history from Japanese resources and understanding how to travel within the country, I'd rank Japan as intermediate to advanced level. A lot of preparation is needed before jumping on the plane for even a 1-week stay.
Yeah, they're really young though, right? Yeah,
That's the one you want.
Mm, I should ask the grandpa. But I can't ask them just like, what's your type?
Don't get me wrong, you can have a wonderful time in Japan for short periods of time and get around, but just know that the Japan that you see and think you understand will be coming from your foreign mindset. And similar to the many English signs, websites, and guidebooks written by foreign media, you'll be more prone to understanding false narratives like Japanese people noisily slurping their ramen noodles to thank the chef. These things aren't true! This is how our foreign brains rationalized something we don't do in our home countries. If you're studying Japanese, I've made a free guide on how I effectively study Japanese to ensure motivation, accountability, and pressure to continue. I put a link in the description box below. Next, Black in Japan, or racism. I'm not gonna lie that racism doesn't exist here, but in my opinion, the Japanese culture makes it tremendously easier to be a darker-skinned person in their country. This is just my opinion, but a reason that Japan is easier to live in compared to other countries as a darker-skinned person is because of its tatemae and hone culture. Tatemae in Japanese means the face you show other people or how you portray yourself in public. Japan has a wa culture, meaning they value peace. To keep the peace, deep conversations are mostly avoided. If a controversial topic or issue arises, Japanese people are quick to diffuse the situation or respond with what we would say as a politically correct response. This is why, although I do street interviews on my other channel, honestly, I mainly do them because they're popular on YouTube and it's fun meeting new people. I think viewers fail to realize and understand that because of Japanese tatemae and wa culture, most Japanese people will not say their honne, especially if they're being recorded. Again, using our foreign minds to rationalize this foreign culture and behavior is how many foreigners that don't speak Japanese take away from their travel in Japan that all Japanese people are nice, when in reality, they're doing what is expected in the situation to keep the peace and not necessarily what they want to do. Tatemae. Anyway, in my personal opinion, because of this tatemae culture, even if a Japanese person is racist, sexist, or xenophobic, they're still likely to converse and interact with the foreigner if the foreigner made the first contact in order to keep the peace in the situation. And this interaction gives foreigners the chance to show who they are and dispel preconceived notions the Japanese person may have had about them, if that foreigner speaks Japanese. Because of this, for the most part, I believe living in Japan as a foreigner is very peaceful and safe. And it gets even better if you speak Japanese, whether you're a resident or you're a tourist. Since living here, the most racism I've faced in Japan has come from other foreigners. In Tokyo or other big cities in Japan, you won't even get stared at much. Well, maybe by other foreigners.
I was bartering with the owner.
Oh yeah, Shimo-Kita's a good place for like vintage stuff, right?
It's so good. Species.
Finally, let's address some scams in Japan. I personally have never been scammed while living here. At least I've never caught a scammer. However, there are two main scams that I'm aware of and which I know people who have been personally affected. First is Kabukicho and Roppongi. Kabukicho and Roppongi are considered unsafe areas in Tokyo. If you're from Baltimore, Maryland like me, that's debatable, but anyway, you're more likely to get drugged and scammed there. The way the scam works is you go to a bar in either of those areas, either by your choice or someone from outside pulls you in. Then you buy a drink and the bartender spikes it, knocking you unconscious. After you're passed out, they charge all of your cards in your wallets. You can even Google and find cases of people having their whole cards maxed out and not being able to do anything about it. The other scam is more so if you're a foreigner looking for an apartment or house here. Oftentimes, the real estate agent will show you only expensive residences, hike up their fees, or fail to mention that the apartment or house they're trying to rent out to you is considered haunted or someone ended themselves there. However, again, if you speak some Japanese, people are more likely to look out for you. Thank you for taking part in my poll and Happy New Year!
Left? Left. This is my left. I should ask the grandpa. I'm shy.
ですかね。
それ以上ですか？
あ、いや、まあそれ以上。
The Swiss airline missed my luggage.
But I can't ask them just like, what's your type?